Today's main topic is culture shock. I mean, the difference of culture. Have you noticed anything about Japanese culture? Hi.
Hi,
What's your name?
I'm Nico.
I'm Sana.
Sana. Where are you from?
I'm from Australia.
I'm from Japan.
Oh, you're from Japan.
Oh, I'm also from Japan though.
You
But I
were
lived
living
in
Japan.
Yeah.
Like studying abroad?
No, we study here. Yeah.
Studying here.
I was born in Japan, but then I moved to
I
Australia.
see, I see. What brought you to Japan?
Well, I moved back because of my parents' job.
I've never lived anywhere else.
Uh-huh.
I've always lived in Japan.
Today's main topic is culture shock. I mean, the difference of culture.
Oh, yeah.
Anything is okay. Have you noticed about culture?
I think honestly, when I went back to Australia,
Mhm.
I definitely experienced culture shock because I feel like the culture in Australia is very like outspoken and like not like conformist.
Uh-huh.
So I think I definitely experienced culture shock.
You've never lived in another country.
No, yeah. So I've only lived here.
But
But
when you went to
yeah, when I went to Australia, it's really different. The culture is so different. Yeah, but we go to INTA. We go to international
see.
school. And so I think that we have a different perspective.
Uh-huh.
And so like for us, it's more normal to be dressing like certain ways. That's like super unconformist, like compared to a normal like Japanese student that's attending like high school in Japan. And so like I think our experience is super different.
And I think like on the trains too, like we try to follow all of the rules, but I think like since we talk in English most of the time, I think we get a lot of looks from like Japanese people, and like I think we definitely experience like the gaijin seat, like when people don't sit next to us. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, that's
Even you are living in Japan, but you
Yeah,
went
and we
to-
look Japanese. Like I mean, she looks half Japanese, but yeah.
I see. Even you were living in Japan, but you don't get used to Japanese culture a little, just different a little bit.
No, I think we're used to Japanese culture, but we're also like we were also raised in like the other side, like the Australian household as well. And so we just view things as like
Both of
differently.
them.
And so like even if we know like it's a little bit like not culturally appropriate to like eat on the trains, like we'll do it. Just because I don't know. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite Japanese culture?
Oh, I have.
I love how everything is like clean and like everyone respects
Everyone
each
says
other,
that,
and like it we kind of use it as like a community, so like we won't leave trash out and we'll be mindful of others. And yeah, it kind of does go into conformity though, because if you're not picking up that stuff, then you're kind of like out of the loop and you're not conforming to like the standard of Japanese like
I see. Do you have anything?
No, I think the same for me. Like it's very clean, and even like Shibuya, I feel like it's considered like dirty, but it's still like very clean compared to like New York City or like yeah.
I see. Thank you so much. That's all the questions.
Yeah. Thank
For your
you.
cooperation.
Hi,
What's your name?
I'm April.
April.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from South Carolina.
What brought you to Japan?
Work.
Work. Also,
Yes.
you're living in Japan.
I live in Japan.
Nice.
I
What do
live
you do for your living?
I am a therapist for the military.
Oh.
Yeah.
Today's
Yeah.
main topic is culture shock. I mean, the difference of culture.
Yes.
Have you noticed anything about Japanese culture?
Yes, I have. So I've learned here that no one is really in a rush. People kind of take their time to go different
Oh.
places compared
Even
to my
Tokyo?
culture. Tokyo's a little different.
Yeah.
I'm in like mainland Japan, so people really like take their time when they're like grocery shopping. They're not in a rush. They're just kind of being present in the moment, which I really like. So it really taught me to be a little more patient, and just taking my time to be present and kind of soak everything in while I'm here. So I like to sightsee a little bit. Everything is really quiet.
Quiet, yeah. Even in the subway.
Yeah, even in the subways, just in Tokyo, you think it's going to be very loud. You see all the lights, and everything is so organized, kind of compared, like it's not as chaotic like back home in the States, which I really do appreciate being here in Japan. Yeah, culturally, more so the morale here is totally different. Rules and structure,
Yeah.
totally different. I remember trying to order something to eat and I wanted to substitute something. They're like, no, you can't do it. And I'm like, yes, I can. Like, just I'll pay for that. And they're like, no, it goes this way. And so it's like however they believe it's supposed to go. They don't go outside of the box. So it's not too many rooms for options and choices, which I think is totally different because in America we can have all the options in the world, right? So it's,
So
it's
everyone
a
is following people and
Yeah.
yeah. Do
totally
you think is it a little bit too much?
Based on the environment, I can understand.
Mhm.
I can understand it. I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit restrictive here. But it's not necessarily a bad thing because I think you can control the chaos a little bit, which I do like. But I can also understand and see how, because of the restrictiveness, how maybe the culture can be under a lot of pressure to do everything right, to be perfect, which I think that can create a lot of distress. As being a therapist, kind of see how they can take a toll on somebody mentally by trying to follow guidelines to the perfect T versus allowing people to really explore who they are and what they really want to do. So I do appreciate that from being, from the United States. I do have an option to decide what I want to do, what I don't want to do. I'm not kind of forced to kind of stay in one lane, and I can appreciate that. Yeah.
So you can have your own idea.
Yeah.
For anything.
Your own identity. Yeah. I think that's a really beautiful
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
My name is Reese.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Philippines.
What brought you to Japan?
Oh, I really like to study the Japanese language. I used to study it in the Philippines. I don't have much chances to speak Japanese in the Philippines. There's no exposure to kanji as well. So yeah, and I really wanted to live abroad, especially in Japan, because I love the culture.
Have you ever been in a travel with Japanese culture?
I think because I'm new to, especially since when I came here, I was new to the Japanese language. Every time I would speak to like my sensei or something, I would immediately, without thinking about it, talk in casual form. I was out with my share house housemates before, and we went to 7-Eleven, and after I paid, I said arigato, and then I went out, and then my housemate was laughing at me, and I didn't know why, but it turns out that you cannot really say just arigato. It's impolite, and I didn't know that early on when I came here. I didn't know I was being impolite. For me, it's like thanks, which is perfectly fine, but I didn't know I was supposed to say arigatou gozaimasu, to be polite. So I think that's troublesome, but I think
To be get used to.
and like just speaking casually to people accidentally when you shouldn't be speaking casually to them. But I think Japanese are very understanding, especially if you're learning the language. And I hope that they understand that we don't mean to disrespect. It's just
Didn't know about. the
we're
culture.
still learning. We're still learning, and there's a lot of forms that you have to practice. And sometimes the first thing that comes out is casual, like tameguchi. So
I know it's hard to learn.
azas. Azas.
How did you know that?
My friend also
friend.
my housemate also taught me azas. It's very omoshiroi to.
I want to know about your country. Do you have any?
So I'm Reese Lansangan. I'm a musician and a singer-songwriter. I write my own music, and I've been learning Japanese, and hopefully I can write music in Japanese as well. But you can check out my YouTube channel and my Spotify, Apple Music. You can search for my original music. This is the name. You can type this, and I hope you like it. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
I love
It's
you,
really
Sam.
fun. Thank
Everyone
you.
should listen to our music. Yeah.
ありがとう。
Thank you for your cooperation.
ありがとうござい
Good
ま
luck with
す。
your test of 敬語。
頑張ります。頑張りま
Thank you
す。
so much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello,
Hello, what's your name?
I'm Zoe.
Zeru. Where
Yes.
are you from?
I'm from France.
France.
Yes.
Good. As a trip or traveling?
In Japan, I'm living in Japan.
Oh, living in Japan.
Yes.
Like working in Japan.
I'm working in Japan.
Oh, what
It's
do you
been
do
4
for
years.
4 years.
Yes.
Oh, what do you do for your living?
I do marketing for food and beverage imported to Japan.
I see.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. What brought you to Japan?
So I'm an account manager. So I actually do, I would say, I'm in between the client that is from abroad
I see.
and the Japanese team that do all the
Ah.
operational work.
Today's main topic is culture shock. I want to know the difference of culture in between Japan and France.
There are a lot. I think there is a lot in terms of communication.
Yeah.
I really can see it because in France maybe people are very like straightforward.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels a bit rude
Uh-huh,
even
uh-huh.
because they will tell what they think right away. But in Japan, it's a culture maybe of like harmony, right? So people try not to say things that could seem rude, and they try to like say they express themselves in different manners. So it's more in like the context and the way they you need to understand what's happening around you. But sometimes it's not easy as a foreigner because you don't get all the codes most of the time. So
Thank
yes.
you. So you feel uncomfortable for that point in Japan?
For me, it's the opposite because I
Yeah.
think I don't like confrontation. I
Uh-huh.
don't like conflict. So I
Uh-huh.
think I'm more Japanese in that way, where I try to find a solution, and I'm not very straightforward, even
see.
though I'm French.
Uh-huh.
So I actually really enjoy that. But
Uh-huh.
sometimes it can be frustrating
Uh-huh.
because sometimes you want to understand what the person really mean,
I
but
see.
you don't understand.
Uh-huh.
So
I see.
yeah,
Thank
because
you.
it's just different. So.
Do you find any good French restaurant in Japan?
Yes, you have a lot, but the problem is the image is really like maybe high.
Different.
Yeah, I think the image of French food is maybe very high, expensive,
I see.
not accessible. But you actually have a lot of bistro. Bistro is more like casual. It's like izakaya for France, I guess. You have some like I don't know if I name some. There is like Cavo, for instance, in Ebisu, or Fuji Bistro in Ebisu as well. And more recently in Jiugaoka, there is a place called Cocotte Cuisine that I really recommend because it's a French person I know and she makes everything herself. And it's tons of small like recipe from all over France, and you can really discover for like accessible price different type of food. So
I go there.
I really recommend Cocotte Cuisine. Really.
Thank you. And I also want to know, you stayed in Japan while the COVID-19, right?
Yes.
Because you live in for 4 years.
Yes.
Maybe foreigners feel uncomfortable for the part of COVID-19 in Japan because we wearing the mask. Even other countries doesn't do that, right?
Yes.
Did you have any idea of Japanese like thinking too much for the rules or something like that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I feel in Japan we were lucky because we didn't have like strict rule compared to other country where they had to quarantine. Even though everyone is really serious about it, and I understand that, and I try to respect it as much as possible. But it's just like nowadays, it feels like Japan is the only country very scared of like taking out the mask, and I really hope. I hope everyone will be a bit less scared. I hope the virus will also stop, or it will be less be less frequent to get sick. So
So you get used to the Japanese culture a little bit, but sometimes you have
Yes.
own idea.
I just don't want to offend anyone. I feel like in Japan you can offend someone very easily when you don't know the culture, and I just don't want to offend anyone. So
I
I
see.
still, even though like with my friend I don't wear the mask, but every time I go to a public space, I try to be careful because if someone is felt not safe, I don't want to get rude or be looked at like the foreigner not having the mask. I don't want to be that foreigner.
Like prejudice or something.
Yes,
I
yes.
see. Thank you so much. That's all the question. Have a good
Perfect.
day.
Thank you.
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm Anna.
Anna.
I'm Sherry.
I'm Francis.
Francis. Where are you from?
I'm from Philippines.
Philippines.
Yeah.
I'm from the Philippines as well.
Philippines.
Yeah.
And I'm from Canada.
Canada. Are you guys a friend?
Yes.
Yeah, we're friends.
Met in Japan?
Yeah, we met.
Oh.
We're co-workers.
I see. What do you do for your living?
We're
Teachers.
teachers.
Teacher, like
yeah, at
high school.
international school.
I see. That's cool. Thank you. Have you nothing anything culture shock?
Yeah, maybe like in the Philippines we're like very loud.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was thinking of mine too. Like when I go, I've lived in Japan now for just over 3 years, and then when I go back to Canada or even to the US, like for layover or anything, I'm really surprised everyone's talking very loudly. Like, because now I'm used to it. Everyone really quiet talking.
Which you like?
It depends on the situation.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if
yeah,
there's
definitely.
if there's like house party,
Uh-huh.
I don't like it. I want like
Because it's
you know like I want to be like loud, but we can't
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like
Yeah.
police will come.
Do you like your country's favorite culture?
In
Yeah.
Canada, we're kind of more friendly. I would say, like, if you're walking down the street, even if you don't know
Uh-huh.
someone, you'll say hello,
Uh-huh.
good morning, or
Yeah.
something is smiling at each other.
Uh-huh.
At least.
It's normal, right?
Yeah, very normal.
Ah.
Like if you just pass someone,
Uh-huh.
you will say hello or
Uh-huh.
smiling or something.
And in the Philippines, I think we're like very happy people. So like even though we have like problems, we're just happy
Yeah.
going out,
like
meeting friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are party people.
Party people.
Energetic.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
like singing, dancing, music.
Yeah.
Japanese favorite culture, good culture. What do you think about it?
I really love the food in Japan,
Mhm.
and also kind of culture around food, like certain foods maybe you eat at certain events or you know different seasons. There's always like the special foods of that season, and they really treasure and appreciate food here,
I
which I
see.
think is nice.
What is your favorite food?
Well, I love like sushi, which is kind of
Sushi,
basic
yeah.
answer, but it's so
Yeah.
good. But yeah, and I love like I like Japanese like sweets too.
Sweets.
Yeah, I like the
same.
emo like like so
Ah.
nice for like fall,
Emo.
and I like mochi like kind of sweets as
Uh-huh.
well. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all the question. Having fun living in Japan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Living the life.
Thank you for your cooperation.